Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. So Will and I have been, we've had this plan to go out in the woods and spend the night, basically 24 hours from like this afternoon to tomorrow afternoon. But instead of just going out there just playing like camping, we're gonna have it to where he has all the modern stuff. Turn around. So he is like a full-on 50-pound pack and a high-tech sleeping bag, and this is actually a cot. And in here he has a tent, all kinds of food, water. He can bring whatever he wants, pretty much all the modern stuff you'd bring on like a 3-month-long like hike. But he has it for like one afternoon in the woods. But I only get a small little Walmart backpack, pretty much with only a little bit of fishing supplies, a fire steel, something to boil water, and and a hammock, a little bit of seasoning salt. So pretty much he's allowed to do whatever he wants. He can just like eat whatever and just do all the normal camping stuff, but I'm more primitive. And obviously it's not as primitive as you saw like in the thumbnail. We're gonna be sitting like suffering in a little like teepee. It's not gonna be that bad. I actually have a hammock, but he just has everything to like same as what I have, but like 10 times more nicer quality and up the scale. For example, just for shelter, I have a hammock and that's it. And he has a tent, a cot, a thermarest, which is like a blow-up mattress, and a sleeping bag, and all I have is a hammock. And he can pretty much eat whatever he wants. He can like bring food in his backpack, but I have to hunt it and fish it. But yeah, y'all understand it further on in the video, but we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and today we're actually gonna do it. So I'm gonna throw my little amount of stuff on there, including the squirrel gun, and he's gonna drop his 50-pound pack on our makeshift sled attached to the ball hitch of the Polaris. So I'll explain everything and show y'all things a little bit more later in the video, but for now, let's go out into the woods and find a place to set up camp for the night. There she goes.
Run.
Okay, so I think we already actually found sort of where we're going to be camping. We're going to be right next to each other, but we're not going to be like helping each other or doing anything. And he's already going ahead and chopping down all these thorns because this area is littered with all this. If we're going to be here for a day, then that's not going to be too good. This is actually the area right on the edge of the woods where I do all the catch and cooks, like I did the crawfish catch and cook like 2 days ago.
This is what a $500 tent looks like.
Already got the little bench down here. And we're basically going to start making this a nice little campsite. I already got the fire pit. He's going to set up all his stuff. And I'm going to string up my hammock probably between those two or those two trees. I'm not too sure yet. But for now, I'm just going to start clearing out the area where we're going to be staying. Those she holds. Oh, that's not good. I expected to die. Alright, attempt number 2.
Better than last time. That's falling. Like last time.
be able to sleep in this tonight. Alrighty, here is a tour of the camp so far. Finally got that up, and it'll be able to support me, so that's where I'm gonna be sleeping. And then we got my fire pit area, and Will still has to build his fire pit because of course he's gonna use a blowtorch, and I'm just gonna use a fire steel, which is the point of this challenge. You'll see later. I got my bag over there, the little bench thing. Bucket, cleared out this area just so I can work around, fillet fish, squirrels, whatever I catch and cook in here. And I'll probably build a little, I don't know what it's called, but a little thing to like hang fish on and smoke them with a little Y stick right here, stick across, Y stick right there, and then hang them by the gills right there. And yeah, so that is how mine is looking right now. And as far as shelter, that's pretty much all I have to do. Now I just have to get a fire going, maybe load a bunch of sticks on that, and then probably go hunting. And here is a tour of Will's modern camping crib. I'll circle around his tent, got the rain fly on. He has vents right there so bugs can't get in, but still air can go through so he doesn't die in the middle of the night right there, and it'll keep it cool. And then he has a cot, which is actually this right here, a sleeping bag. He's got a USB cord, built-in lighting. He can hang a lantern from there, change of clothes, everything he needs. And he still needs to build a fire pit right there versus what I have is just a hammock. So it's not exactly complete primitive versus complete modern, but still a hammock versus all the stuff he's got going on in there. It's quite a big difference. So we said Will had to set up his fire pit as well, but I didn't know that he brought an actual stove. So, well, I'm gonna go out and search for water to boil on my fire pit. He's gonna, what?
I'm gonna make tea.
Okay, so while Will sits here and drinks his high-tech tea, I'm gonna come over here and get my little fire stove kit right here, and I'm going to make a fire. And once it is big enough to sustain itself for like 10 minutes, I'm going to grab this right here, walk down to the creek, fill it up with as much water as I can, come back and put it on the coals because like him, I'm getting very hungry. Sorry, I'm getting very thirsty just from doing all this and clearing out everything. Makes you sweat a lot in the middle of, what month is it? May? Yeah, in the middle of May. Alright, got my tinder, which is actually little cotton ball things. I don't know why they're flat, but they're basically cotton balls. I would just use birch bark or leaves, but too much is at stake for me to get this fire going, and I don't want to die of dehydration. So I brought cotton balls and actually a little bit of Vaseline, since you can rub it on here, and it makes it catch and hold the flame a lot longer. And I mean, like I said, it's not full-on primitive. If it was full-on primitive, then I would have 2 sticks and I would be trying to light like a leaf, but I'm gonna use this for now. But I mean, Will's over there just dipping his tea bag in his cup of boiling water. There we go. Alright, while Will sits there in my hammock and make sure the fire doesn't go out, I'm going to get water for myself because he already had like a quart of tea, but I've been just trying to get this fire going. So I'm going to run down to the creek, maybe like 200 yards that way, and fill this canteen up for my first drink of water in like 2.5 hours. Whew, it's gonna be a long 22.5 hours. Alright, I'm just gonna scoot a rock out of the way and have this pot probably sitting like right in that little area. Hopefully it starts to boil and I can get some water in my system. Alright, that's good. I'm very jealous. Okay, well, Will just ran all the way back up to the house because, well, he has the ability to do that. Unfortunately, if I have that human sensation, then, well, I would have to... Let's just hope I don't have that sensation in the next 23 hours. I'm not going to eat or drink much, so I doubt I will. And, well, the water has been boiling for probably 15 minutes now, and, well... It's bubbling quite a bit, so I'm hoping that it's done. I know it's going to taste horrible, but I'm just hoping I'm not going to die from it. So I'm going to get these 2 green leaves because I know those handles are probably very hot because they're sitting in the coals as well. Okay, well those didn't work. Just burnt myself all the same. Alright, new plan. I'm going to use sticks to drag it out of the coals. Try not to spill anything. Now I'll just wait for that to cool down, might go and set it in the creek so it cools down faster, and then finally have a drink because I'm honestly getting pretty dizzy from not having any water in this hot weather. Alright, well it's been a while and I'm hoping that this creek water will be at least a little bit cooled off. And well, Will's back from taking a dump and once again he's just stuffing his face. There you go. First water in like 3 hours, I don't know. It does taste like ash though. Well, now that I have all that water in my system, I pretty much have achieved all the 4 basic elements of survival. 1 being fire, 2 being shelter, which is pretty much this, 3 being water, and 4, at least I think there's only 4, is food. So now the rest of the night, it's like 4 or 3 or maybe 5 right now, I'm not sure, is going to pretty much just strictly be off trying to get food for me and Will. Of course, Will doesn't need much food because he's already eaten like our entire refrigerator in these past 3 hours. But he didn't bring any other food than that. We were originally planning on him like eating MREs, which if you didn't know are like
Mountain houses.
They're like dried food and then you pour boiled water in there. And it's pretty much like a delicious home cooked meal. And I was gonna have to catch my food, but since we didn't have any MREs or we pretty much forgot them, or I'm also gonna be sharing some of my squirrels and fish or whatever I catch with him, and he can also help me get those. So now I think we're gonna go fishing and then maybe later this evening set some bank lines and then maybe go squirrel hunting. I'm not too sure.
Yeet.
Alright, well, just came down to the river right here, which is like 200 yards behind our little camp, just so I can sort of multitask and go fish for food and also fish for food right here, but without having to be here. I'm going to set probably only 1 bank line, and then tonight I'll actually set 3 and we'll check them in the morning and hope we'll have breakfast on them. Bank lines, if you didn't know, are, at least my version of them, pretty much just about 4 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon to a simple split shot and then about 6 inches, a little hook right there. And I'm basically just gonna tie this tag into an end of a stick, shove it in the bank, and hope I come back in about 2 hours and there's either a catfish, a turtle, a sturgeon, or whatever lives in this creek on the end of this, so we can cook him up. Nice juicy worm, shove that entire thing on the hook. Alright, well, Will is now down here and he's able to film me, so it'll be way easier. Here we go. Got the worm on the end of the bank line. All I really do is toss him out there as far as this goes, which is like not very far at all. Just tie that off there. What? How's my worm already gone?
I ate it.
Alright, I think the reason we're losing all of our worms is because there's like a ton of bluegill right here. Going! What the heck?
What in the world?
That's dinner. Heck yeah.
Knock it out.
Alright.
You
Dinner.
failure. Dinner. Yeah.
So, I think we can actually go to another pond and get fish bigger than this. because of course you can't get much meat off this and it'll just take a long time to fillet. So I'm gonna leave him. Might try a little bit longer in here and see if we can get bigger bluegill to cook, but we're not gonna cook him. Alright, well, change of plans. The little river bankline catfish turtle bluegill fest did not exactly turn out the way I expected it to. So now we're at a pond with much bigger fish and I'm pretty much just wading through the water. Got a little flick shake with a little trick worm on there. And I'm gonna see if we can either get like green sunfish or maybe a big old bass. You good? Yep. Oh, why is it so small? I don't care, it's a fish. Well, not exactly the meal I was hoping for, but maybe if I get a few of these and maybe a squirrel, might be enough to satisfy me. Well, dinner has been acquired. A little like quarter-pound bass. Not exactly what I was looking for, but it's gonna have to do for now. So I got this stringer right here. Thread this through his gills. Oh! No! Children, where you were? There we go. Now I'll just throw this guy in the water to keep him fresh and hopefully catch one or two more before we have to go back and fillet him. And then stick this into the ground like that. There we go. Oh man, I don't even know if this thing's edible. It's like a minnow, really. Nope. Oh, dang it, dude. How do I keep losing these fish? There he is. That's a keeper, whatever it is. Holy crap, they're only kind of big. Here's if he's running at me. Yeah. Get him. Big bear in last one. Do you know how to work that stringer? What? Do you know how to put him on the stringer? No. What do you need to do with this bait? Just cast? Just like tap it? Yeah, so hey. That's alright. Just cast and you're gonna like hop it, but don't let it sink too much because it sinks pretty quick. Okay. And you know how to set the hook and everything. Alright, Will's gonna take over to see if he can catch the rest of my dinner while I go and put this guy on the stringer with the other one. Probably gonna get one more, hopefully about this size, and then go back to the camp and try to shoot something with the 22. I already got the second bass for me to eat tonight. Go ahead and thread him on the stringer with his little brother. And there we go, got the bigger one and the smaller one. Probably can get about 3 total bites off these guys, but it's better than nothing. Got it. Finally, dude. I actually stuck one. Looks like a keeper. I'm just water skiing it. Yep. Not big, but that will keep. Now we can finally go back to camp and fillet these guys.
2,000 years later.
Alright guys, just finished filleting these, how many do we have? Yeah, just finished filleting these 3 bass. Not going to show you the fillets because I just spent like 15 minutes trying to get them clean in this muddy little creek. So I'm going to take these fillets and fill up my little container with water and go back and cook/boil these guys on the fire. Alright, so already got the water boiling right there. Will's sitting there playing with a blowtorch, and it is time for me to cook up this little bit of bass that I have. Alright, there's 2, and then I have just simple Lawry's seasoning salt. This is the only spice I bring because it's survival. I guess I'll just drench that. Wrap them up, and I'll just set them aside for now so I can put all of them in at once and make sure they all equally get cooked. So I'll just throw them right on the coals right here, and probably in about 15 minutes check them, and hopefully get a little bit of food in my stomach for the last like 6 hours. Okay, well, as the bass fillets are cooking and the water is boiling, I'm actually going to end this part of the survival challenge. I think it's like 6 o'clock right now, and yeah, stay tuned for part 2. It'll probably be out like a day or two after you're watching this video. So yeah, let me know if y'all like these survival videos, and we'll do a lot more of them. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.